Okay,
Hit that button in the back, make sure that light comes on.
all right. We need to learn how to avoid certain pitfalls and even disasters in life. You know, I've spent over 25 years driving a semi truck. It was always at night. The semi I had pulled has two trailers behind it. And as you can imagine, during bad weather, it wasn't the easiest of jobs. Now, I lived in Wisconsin before I lived here. So in Wisconsin, I kept a small calendar journal and I wrote down the weather and what kind of driving conditions I was up against, and blizzards and whiteouts and fog so thick you couldn't see past the nose of your truck. I remember one of the particular nights of freezing rain with ice on the roads, and at the time I was getting off one highway and turning around and going on to the next highway. Looked my rearview mirror, and my last trailer is at a 90-degree angle. I look like a giant L if you look from the top, going off the highway and onto the next one. Well, I was doing like 10 miles an hour, but if I would have stopped, panicked and stopped, that last trailer would have slid down into the ditch and dragged the rest of the tractor and somebody in with it, and I would have been stranded out in the middle of nowhere. I do believe my fingerprints are still embedded on those steering wheels of those semi. Now, most nights were not that hair-raising, but no one ever remembers the easy days. And at the end of my comments for the day, I always thank Father Yahweh for getting me home safe but shaking during the bad days and even those easy ones. Even those nights where I was having trouble staying awake, I would hear my name being called to wake me up, but I was the only one in the semi. Yahweh has looked after me all those years, and I thank Him. Was it Yahweh who saved me, or was it me who saved me? I would like to give myself some credit, but I really think it was Yahweh taking care of me all those days and all those years. I think He suddenly woke me or kept my truck on the road, or maybe it was that angel that didn't like riding with me. I don't know, but I think it was Yahweh who gave me the quick thought to drive in times of very bad weather. I mean, really bad weather. And it was Yahweh who kept me from falling asleep all those nights as well. Don't you think it's better that I give Yahweh the credit for saving me rather than trying to take the credit for myself? 1 Corinthians 10:31, whether therefore you eat or drink, or whatsoever you do, do all to the glory of Yahweh. So if you are saved from an accident, you should glorify Yahweh by giving Him the credit and the praise. In 1 Thessalonians 5:18, in everything give thanks, for this is the will of Yahweh in Messiah Yeshua concerning you. Give thanks and praise in all circumstances, the good days and including the bad or scary circumstances. Life is full of difficult and or disastrous situations, or situations that could be disastrous. And it's not just car accidents or mishaps. It's people relationships and many other things like health. Some people relationships falls apart and becomes a big disaster unless Yahweh somehow intervenes. We need to look to Yahweh always. We need His wisdom and counsel always. We need His protection and security in life always. He is bigger than life itself, and bigger than us. He's the only one who can save us, protect us, and make us secure in life and eternity. Matthew 11:28. Come unto me, all you that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. Take my yoke upon you, and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart, and you shall find rest unto your souls. And he will give us even more than rest. He will give us wisdom and discernment and strength and grace. Hebrews 4, verse 15 and 16. For we have not a high priest which cannot be touched with the feeling of our infirmities, but was in all points tempted like as we are, yet without sin. Hebrews 4:16. And let us therefore come boldly unto the throne of grace, that we may obtain mercy and find grace to help in time of need. Paul advised Titus on how to avoid certain troubles in life by looking to Yahweh and listening to his word. Avoid various things in life and you will avoid trouble. Avoid religious arguments and avoid selfishness. In Titus 3, verse 9. But avoid foolish questions and genealogies and contentions and striving about the law, for they are unprofitable and vain. A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject, knowing that he that is such is subverted and sinneth, being condemned of himself. Religion and politics. Which do you think causes the most arguments? Considering our present political situation, it's probably politics right now. I think that humorist Will Rogers would have had a heyday if he was alive. He would have more political jokes than you could shake a stick at. He was in some ways a prophet before his time. And while he would be making jokes, he might be crying on the inside because of the shape of our country today. Religious arguments. Have you ever had any? I have. None that I'm proud of. After it was over, I felt that I really didn't do a very good job. Most religious arguments are unprofitable and useless. They are a waste of time and energy, and often people are put off from the truth of the gospel, or they will just refuse to listen because of their lifestyles conflicting with Yahweh's ways. In James 1, verse 19, wherefore, my beloved brethren, let every man be swift to hear, slow to speak, slow to wrath. For the wrath of man worketh not the righteousness of Yahweh. Wherefore, lay apart all filthiness and superfluity and naughtiness, and receive with meekness the engrafted word, which is able to save your souls. Getting angry, even religious angry, generally does no good in this world. Anger often seems to open the door to Satan. Ephesians 4:26 says, be you angry and sin not. Let not the sun go down upon your wrath. Neither give place to the devil. In Philippians 1:27. Only let your conversation be as it becometh the gospel of Messiah, that whether I come and see you or else be absent, I may hear of your affairs, that you stand fast in one spirit, with one mind, striving together for the faith of the gospel. We are to contend for the faith of the gospel. To contend is to fight for the faith of the gospel, but that doesn't mean that we should literally fight with people. It does no good at all. 1 Peter 3:15, but sanctify Yahweh Elohim in your hearts, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks you to a reason of the hope that is in you, with meekness and fear. In our witnessing and contending for the faith, we must be gentle with people and respectful towards them. If we don't show courtesy and kindness and love, how can we expect to do any good? Maxwell Perkins, the famous book editor, once wrote, "One of my deepest convictions is that the terrible harms that are done in this world are not done by deliberately evil people who are not numerous and are soon found out. They are done by the good, by those who are so sure that God is with them. Nothing can stop them, for they are certain that they are right." And Titus 3 verse 10 says, "A man that is a heretic after the first and second admonition reject, knowing that he is such is subverted and sins and being condemned of himself." Warn a heretic. It sounds to me like that if someone is causing trouble in the church to the point where there could be a division, then that person should be warned. Once, twice, third time you're out. That is, we leave them alone with the hope that they will wake up. No one enjoys warning others, but there are times when it must be done. Generally, I would think that job should be left to the elders or leaders of the church. In Hebrews 13 verse 17, "Obey them that have rule over you. Submit yourselves, for they watch for your souls, as they that must give account, that they may do it with joy, and not with grief, for that is unprofitable for you." And in Titus 3 verse 13, "Bring Zenas the lawyer and Apollos on their journey diligently, that nothing be wanting unto them. And let always also learn to maintain good works for necessary use, that they be not unfruitful. All that are with me salute thee. Greet them all that love us in the faith. Grace be with you all. Amen." Now, this was written to Titus, ordained the first bishop of the Church of the Cretans from Nicopolis of Macedonia. The preacher John Wesley of the 1700s is quoted as saying, "Do all the good you can, by all the means you can, by all the ways you can, in all the places you can, at all the times you can, to all the people you can, as long as ever you can." That covers a lot of territory. I would say that it is a pretty good code to live by. It sounds like Yeshua. In Acts 10:38, how Yahweh anointed Yeshua of Nazareth with the Holy Spirit and with power, who went about doing good, healing all that were oppressed of the devil, for Yahweh was with him. Yeshua went about doing good, all kinds of good, providing food, teaching Yahweh's word, healing from diseases, and casting out demons. We need to do the same. Although we are somewhat limited in comparison to what Yeshua did, I don't know of anyone who has healed those who were under the power of the devil. Even there are those who claim to cast out demons. The only way that any of us could do that is by leading people to the faith in Messiah. And when they surrender their lives to Messiah, then they will indeed be healed from the power of the devil. 2 Corinthians 5:17. "Therefore, if any man be in Messiah, he is a new creature. Old things are passed away. Behold, all things are become new. Beyond casting out demons or healing people who are under the power of the devil, what can we do? What must we do? Anything we can. Teach and preach and give and share and listen and love. We must not be selfish with our lives and with what Yahweh has given us. We are to avoid selfishness by being quick to see needs and respond to those needs. Titus 3:13, when he says, bring Zenas, the lawyer, and Apollos on their journey diligently, that nothing be wanting unto them, and let ours also learn to maintain good works for necessary uses, that they may not be unfruitful. We avoid selfishness by doing good towards others in any form. When a distinguished foreigner paid his only visit to America in 1950, a committee of prominent Chicagoans lined up the railroad station to offer official greetings. But the committee noticed that his eyes were not wholly fixed on them. Those penetrating eyes were wandering beyond the encircled committee. Something was on the station platform catching his eye amid the crowd of travelers. With politeness and firmness, the great man said to the committee, "Excusez-moi," and literally dashed past the receptionist. Diving into the crowd, he stopped beside an elderly woman who was staggering under her load of heavy suitcases and extra bundles. With his big, sensitive hands, he grabbed the old woman's suitcase and bundles and beckoned her to follow him. He threaded her way through the throngs. He led the woman to the coach where she wanted to take, lifted up her suitcases into the overhead rack, bowing in a courtly manner, wished her bon voyage. Then he rushed back to the astounded committee with apologies for keeping them waiting. This is the way Dr. Albert Schweitzer arrived in America. When Albert Schweitzer known something, does he know something that we don't? Did he have a heart within him that is different than ours or most of our generation? He quoted as saying, life becomes harder for us when we live for others, but it also becomes richer and happier. In Philippians 2 verse 3, let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind let each esteem other better than themselves. Look not every man on his own things, but every man also on the things of others. We must avoid selfishness at all costs. In humility, we serve one another as best we can in any form. A man who was known to be like liquor explained that he drank only to drown his troubles. After you drowned them, why do you continue to drink? He was asked. You don't know my troubles, he sighed. My troubles are excellent swimmers. I try to drown them, he said, but they swim right up again. Those troubles sound like the sins that we have to deal with throughout our lives. 1 Corinthians 10:13. There has no temptation taken you but such as is common to man. But Yahweh is faithful, who will not suffer you to be tempted above that you are able, but will, with the temptation, also make a way to escape, that you may be able to bear it. Temptation to sin in various ways will always come our way. Temptation to do evil, to fight, to argue, to be selfish. And there is only one escape. The Lord himself is our escape from sin and self. In order to avoid the evil pitfalls of this life, we must always look to Yahweh and His Son, Yeshua, and to His Word. Psalms 119, verse 9. Wherewithal shall a young man cleanse his way? By taking heed thereto according to thy word. How can a young man keep his way pure? By living according to your word. The Torah, the Bible. This holds true for people of all ages, both male and female.